Greetings and salutations everyone, I'm Mac. This is Let's Play Spyro 2 Reignited, Metropolis Meltdown. In the last episode we finished the last level in the game, and I was actually kind of surprised to come to that realization. Interesting. But yeah, in this episode we've got a bit of gem tidying up to do. But other than that, we're pretty much going straight into the finale for this one. I probably should have titled this episode finale in my video titles. I guess this is about time that I mentioned something. Like, people do actually give me a little bit of, well, see, the thing is, Spyro 2 is titled Ripto's Rage in America, and presumably everywhere that isn't using the PAL version, but in Europe and Australia, it's called Gateway to Glimmer. It's not really clear why that change needed to be made, but it still feels like this is a nostalgic game, so I will notice if you change things. I notice when it's the title. And even before they released the Reignited trilogy, I had very good arguments for why Gateway to Glimmer is just as viable a name as Ripto's Rage. Because Ripto doesn't do anything. See, the thing is, Ripto is a very popular villain for his personality, and I can get that, but he doesn't do anything. How much of a presence does Ripto have in the game? Not very much. He shows up at the start of each hub world animation to beat up money bags and hang posters of himself. He tries to feed Zoe to Gulp, but
alright, Spyro. Now that
he's not the one responsible for all the troubles. There was trouble before he came here, and there's going to be trouble after it as well. And there we go. Did I forget a
Yeah! Yeah! Come back here, you useless animals!
Hey, Shorty, maybe I can help.
What? You again?
Yup. If you want to test that power crystal, why don't you try it on me? I'll stand still, I promise.
I like that idea. Dragon, you've just sealed your fate!
Did I get all the orbs? I'm not sure. But yeah, Ripto is not a presence in the game. So, you could name the game after any level in it, and it would make just as much sense as Ripto's Rage. That's just a thing that I've been feeling.
Spyro, we want to help you fight Ripto. Elora is using the orbs you collected to store power-up energy. Hunter will throw the powered-up orbs to you as they become ready. Even as we speak, the professor is experimenting with new forms of power-up energy, so you'll soon have abilities that no one has ever seen before.
And does he attack straight away? Nope. Just like all the other bosses, it's only after you move. And now it is a race. Get the orbs before Ripto can, and don't let him blast you. I love how he panics when he realizes that you've got power-ups. And he still reacts if you hit him. That's fantastic. Although I'm pretty sure, just like the original, you can't stun lock him either. Thank you, Hunter. I am glad that they don't have some sort of crazy, you need to get 3 of the same color mechanic, because that would just make this obnoxious. Also, if he gets up to 3, then trouble happens. Fortunately, that's exactly what Gulp does, so you can't expect me to... Wait, no, not Gulp, Crush. This is Gulp. Wow, Mechanical Gulp definitely doesn't look as... Well, so much for that. He's definitely a better aim from... He's also a bigger target when Robo Gulp's back. I can snatch it away from him if I want. Although... Ooh, yes! Red again! Oh dear. Nope! Come on, Hunter! RGB! Now that's a new move. And now it's a good thing that the inventor showed us how to do this. Homing blast! So you can use the same loopy-loops that they had in the first Spyro game. That's nice. Also, not really the place that I want to experiment. Yeah, trying to get the skill point for this is not nice. Ow. I suppose it makes sense that, I guess, for what it's worth, the final boss being actually difficult. Now we start back at the beginning. Nice. Stand still so I can shoot you. Your power-ups suck, Professor. This one's mine. What? Who's the big one now, eh? Blue, 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 mine, mine, mine. Dang it, I have to take the red one. I hate that it just cancels out immediately after that. I thought I had it that time. Oh dear. Oh! And now... Wait, did he just hit himself with his own attack? That's kind of pathetic. And now... Okay, I'm glad that I didn't get it for the first time because seeing him knock himself out, damage himself with his own super attack is kind of hilarious. Hunter still falls. I was about to say, in the original, Hunter falls into the lava, but you don't see that happen in this one. But still. He's not on that wall anymore. Uh-oh. No, no, no! Where'd he go? Where'd he go? Oh! One more hit. So apparently seeing him slowly sink into the lava, too graphic for this.
Hey!
I don't think we could ever thank you enough, Spyro. I suppose you have to go now?
Yeah, I better. They'll be missing me in the Dragon Worlds, and I've still got a vacation to take. I need it more than ever now.
Before you go, I think that Moneybags has something he wants to give you.
I most certainly do not.
Hunter? Spyro, Moneybags is very sorry that he made you pay so much on your way through Avalar. We want you to keep the gems as a reward for helping us.
Wow, thanks! Sparks, can you grab them?
Let me just type in the new coordinates and there! Spyro, you can now go to Dragon Shores.
Hey, why don't you guys come with me? I bet you could use a holiday.
I'm afraid we can't, Spyro. Ripto may be gone, but he caused a lot of damage during his short stay. We'll be cleaning up for weeks. Just remember, though, that you can always get back to Avalar from Dragon Shores if you want to visit.
Well, okay. Come on, Sparks. We got a lot of vacation to catch up on.
Yeah.
What damage? All he did was beat up Moneybags and hang up posters of himself. And, well, Hunter beat him up and he's certainly not evil. Still, that was Spyro 2. Ripto's Rage. Well, that's kind of disappointing. They're using exactly the same credit sequence. Still, thoughts on this project? I definitely needed this project. Wargroove and Disgaea both are tactics RPGs, and they aren't bad games, but they're bad games for me to let's play. I have to think a lot about what I'm doing, and that messes up my commentary. Whereas here, with this sort of stuff, with something I know as well as Spyro, I can just muck about and talk while I'm and I can have a proper discussion, or as much of a discussion as I can have as a commentator. Well, I'm just doing what I did all those years ago. I played the heck out of these games. There's something Crash Bandicoot definitely can't say. Crash Bandicoot's not bad, but man, it's a frustrating game. Controls are not nearly as tight, but Spyro's fun. I love Spyro. I maybe wouldn't like him playing heavy metal in my ear like that. I think Spyro 2 is the better of all the trilogy, because it feels like it's in such a point of transition between Spyro 1 and 3 that it just covers all the best things that Spyro has. The introduction cutscenes are fantastic. They just set up each world so nicely. The fact that it isn't just save these people from crystal rocks. No, you've got actual little tasks now, and because it isn't all save these people, they can have the tasks can be varied, and the collectibles can be a lot better hidden. Granted, treetops is certainly a thing, but for hiding things. But let's not get into that. I guess the one problem I have is that this game does involve backtracking. There are certain things that I just have to come back for in later worlds simply because I don't have the ability to get through there. And I'm not saying that this isn't something that they kept doing, because Spyro 3 has this, but it isn't a why bother finishing the level because I won't know where anything is like it is here. I do actually have it. I think it's a black sheep. I think. Rather than being abilities, they had different zones sectioned off completely, so you can still technically complete everything. I don't know. Spyro 2 has got a special place for me because it is actually one of my first console games ever. My mother didn't realize that there was a first game. She just grabbed the Spyro game that she saw, and she also bought Crash Bandicoot 1, and she had to take it off me because I was actually a very ill-tempered gamer back in the day. But Spyro 2, I played Spyro 2. I couldn't beat Ripto. I got Spyro 1, I played some of that, I came back to Spyro 2, and I beat Ripto. I'm glad to see that it's still a challenge, although I also find it incredibly ironic that the hardest boss, or at least hardest for me, is also the one boss that I did get the skill point for a perfect play on. That's kind of funny. Still, I can't rest on my laurels. I've still got those skill points to track down on camera, but honestly, as bad as I am with bonus episodes, because I mucked up with my bonus episodes for Crosscode, I can't tell which ones I still need to upload and which ones I don't, but I feel like I need to move on to a new project, so I'll come back with a skill point someday, just not this day. Spyro, you little troublemaker. I feel like the Robotica farms and the Metropolis levels are a bit confusing because Metropolis refers to an uprising from the farms. And one thing that I've always sort of wondered is how the portals work. Does each portal just lead to a different world entirely? Or do the portals lead to different parts of actual Avalar? So if it weren't for the force fields everywhere, you could technically just grab a super duper permanent flying power up and eventually get to it. I see Spyro's still not really. He's technically reading his homework, but he's got a book hidden behind him. And his teacher there knows better than to believe him. But yeah, is all of Avalar actually interconnected? Or is Avalar just a series of portals that lead around to each other? It's always been a thing that I wondered about the Spyro series in general. When you get to, when they released Spyro Shadow Legacy, which wasn't very well received, I liked that everywhere was actually connected and you could walk from one point to another. It was actually sort of a rehash of all the Spyro games together, just very watered down, I suppose. It still wasn't good. As a game, it was bad, but as a Spyro lore, it wasn't so very terrible. Yeah. But that's not a thing to discuss, since I have absolutely no hope in China of ever recording DS games. You take very specific equipment to do that, and that is not equipment that they even sell anymore. Well, Spyro, you enjoy your vacation. You have some coffee. Technicolor animation in games. I wish they had a different credit sequence for each game. Of course, I'm just assuming that it's going to be the same for Spyro 3, but I don't know, I feel like I'm not going to be surprised. Yes, we have this beautiful dragon jumping out of a cake. I guess okay, let me think. Which were my favorite levels? I like Zephyr. I like Breeze Harbor. I always liked those. I feel like Glimmer is a nice starting world. Harakos, for what it's worth, is an interesting aesthetic. Power plant built in a windstorm area. At least I think that's what it is, with all the electricity. A super special shout out to all original Spyro the Dragon team members who contributed to the original 3 games. All made by Stuart Copeland. And the Reignited version also by Stuart Copeland. Nice. At least I think that's what it said. It went by just before I could finish reading it. It sort of feels like once you get to that big shout out, there shouldn't be anything else to say, but no, apparently we've got a lot of directors, managers to also thank. The legal team, because you're definitely going to need a legal team to sue somebody. What else can I talk about? Fracture Hill, actually, now that I think about it, I'm actually surprised by how little I actually struggled with the game. The only time I ever felt really challenged was by the trolley section, which everyone remembers, and by the final boss. Sure, I didn't do perfectly, this isn't a speedrun of the game, everyone knows it's not speedrun worthy. But it's also, I don't know, I feel like I never had anything that took too long for me to do. Except maybe gem hunting, but then in Zephyr I found, hey, just click the left analog stick and you've got the gem seeker ability again. And apparently you have it in the Spyro 1 game, but, well, I beat that without it. Sorry. But either way, this doesn't feel like it took overly long. I've only taken 3 sessions to get through the whole game, I'd say. My next project, well, I've gotten a recommendation, and it came down to either Ori and the Blind Forest or Bayonetta Blind. And I don't know, I feel like I might get a few complaints if I Let's Play Bayonetta. until next time. I can't sign off yet, the credits are still going. You wouldn't think it would take this many people to make a good game, considering that we've got the likes of Undertale out there, or Untitled Goose Game. Actually, wait. I'm not sure I can fairly say Untitled Goose Game had very few people working on it, because I do actually remember... I can't remember the credit sequence, but that doesn't mean it was a short credit sequence. I can remember that there was an Australian governmental type of a shout out in the recommendation, so it must have had some sort of officialness to it. I'm surprised Untitled Goose Game took off like it did. I'm also surprised to see on Tumblr that there's a couple of crossovers with Fire Emblem Three Houses. There aren't many games too different than those two are, but because they came out around the same time, they're fresh in people's minds, and they have the natural goofy crossover artwork and such. Look at me, I'm talking about a Goose Game after playing Spyro. Strategic Sourcing and Corporate Services. A junior desktop technician. What would a desktop technician do that any tech-savvy geek can't? Principal Enterprise Applications and Finance. Architecture Ops. Infrastructure Architecture, actually. What sort of job? All of a sudden I'm looking at all these jobs and wondering, hang on, what does an identity management administrator do? Is this game just so big that they have an entire office building and they have all these people dedicated to running the office building? These are the questions that I'm now raising. There were a few points here and there where my nostalgia kicks in, and having played it so much in the past, I recognize all the differences down to the very grains of grass, and I think, this doesn't feel as good as the old one, but for what it's worth, this is a great remastering, as opposed to some games where you can't really tell the difference. Like, I wouldn't be able to tell the difference between Ratchet and Clank. Well, I haven't actually played Ratchet & Clank HD, but I've played Sly Raccoon HD, and I've played Sly Raccoon, and there's really no discernible difference there. But here, there is a very big difference. You can tell they put in a lot of work into these games. And the people who worked on these games, applaud to you. You did a great job. It's not a game that I complain about. Like, okay, scratch that. I am a nitpicker, so of course there's going to be things that I complain about, but it's a game worth playing. Even with all the nostalgia criticisms that I have, it is still a game worth playing. And that's the important thing. That is what you do if someone asks, did they do a good job? My answer is a flat out yes. And that is what's important. Tier 3 Specialist? What happened to Tier 2 and Tier 1 Specialists? Why aren't they in the same place on the list? Vault On-Site Program Manager and Program Coordinator? Oh, you need strategy for platforms, don't you? We're probably talking about gaming consoles, but it just sounds like you've got someone working on the platforming aspect of the game. Localization testers. IT network technician, assistant network technician. Okay, I'll give you that. Networks are really confusing. I did a programming course. There was actually a part where you're dealing with the network database, and good gravy does that stuff get messed up. I had to take the course twice. Although that might also be because I was distance educated. I was taking it long distance, so naturally I don't have an I don't have immediate access to a lecturer where they can just stand at my shoulder and point everything out and say, yeah, here's what's going wrong. No, I don't have someone like that, so I just have to keep hoping that I get it right. So yeah, someone who works with networks, I salute you. Quality assurance. Well, the quality is assured. And yes, it is a quality game. You apparently meet technical requirements for your quality insurance. I'm not so sure about that. TRG tester. That probably means something other than what I think of, because those are not the runaway guys' names in there. Somebody stop me. This credit sequence is too long. Supply chains. Oh. Just press the triangle button to end it. Should have done that. Ripto defeated. And now I should sign off very, very soon. There's just one little thing I want to check before I do. Oh.
Well done, Spyro. Step right into Dragon Shores Park.
He looks so timid.
By the way, if you win 10 tokens, you can visit our theater.
Oh yeah, we'll do that some other time, but first of all, we have all the gems. 100% game completion. I suppose next time I have to pick up tokens, and the time after that I've got these skill points to deal with. Those Speedway skill points, those are going to be a thing. Until then, guys, take care. I'll see you all around. Okay, this is kind of funny, but Spyro looks so heroic when he's jumping.